Hi, this is Cheryl, all things Cheryl, here to do the review and recap of Netflix 7 Seconds, Episode 2, Season 1, title, Brenton Breathes. The scene opened up, we see that Peter is in his garage, basically trying to get rid of any evidence that's on his SUV and to make sure that nothing can be found. Meantime, we at the hospital where we see Tish with her son Brenton and basically, bathing him, making sure that he's comfortable. Trish recognized and noticed that her son is responding to her touch. So she basically get excited, and I don't blame her. I would get excited too. She's getting excited, so she calls the nurse and let the nurse know what's going on. In the meantime, we're over in another part of town where we see KJ. And KJ is at the jail. She goes to the jail to talk to Mac, who is basically a homeless guy that is basically being framed for this hit and run. And so she gets to see Max. She gets to talk to Max, and she finds out that Max is not the person who hit Tish's son, Benton, because the reason why he's not the person is because he was over in another part of town purchasing liquor. And we find out that the car that Max, the homeless guy, was in is basically brown. And so while she's trying to get, all of this information so they can basically build up their case against Max. But then she finds out that Max is not the person who did that hit and run. So on the other side of town in the hospital, we see that Tish has called in Isaiah, her husband, and Isaiah's brother, Seth. And she tells Isaiah and the nephew that Benton, Burton, excuse me, is responding to touch, and that the doctor has basically been doing so runs. And so tests and run on her son. And so Isaiah asks, well, what does that mean? And so just explain to Isaiah that their son has brain activities, that he is responding to her touch. In return, Seth comfort his sister-in-law and tells her that he has seen, these type of injuries and people, basically will spring back from brain injury. And then this is where they started to basically make arrangements for, 24 hours around the clock to stimulate her son's mind so he can basically recognize and basically notice people when they come to visit him. And then we see on the other part of the town, we see that KJ has gone to the prosecutor's house. And the prosecutor's name is James. Now James is head of the prosecutor's department, and apparently, KJ and James has had an affair. Now, KJ's got a lot of nerves going to a house where she has slept with the prosecutor, and the wife knows about it. Well, found out about it. And so the wife goes to get James and tell James, look, you got to do something about this. You got to handle this. Don't be having, I want to say, quote unquote, this black woman coming to my house. Don't do that. You take care of it. And so basically, James come out and talk to KJ. And KJ tells James that Mac, the homeless drunk person, is not the person that is being accused of this hit and run. The reason why he's not the person is because Mac was over in another part of town purchasing liquor. And basically, Max has a brown car. And so, also the reason why KJ went to the prosecutor's house is to get permission to examine Burton's body to see whether or not if there's any like pink chips or anything on the body to, have it tested. And so while she's basically telling James, the prosecutor, exactly what's happening, she's also trying to also get in touch with Fish, who is the detective also on this case, to let him know that you charged the wrong guy, and that basically we have to go and find out who is the right person who has did this hit and run. Now, in the meantime, we are back over to the other side of town, and we see the two officers that basically hangs with D'Angelo. We see Felix and we see Murphy. Felix and Murphy are not feeling Peter is because they feel that D'Angelo is basically giving more attention to this new rookie. Now, this reminds me of Training Day with Denzel Washington and how he was basically training the new rookie and showing the new rookie basically the ropes and the ropes in what they do. And in the meantime, we see that Murphy and Felix is driving. And so Felix asks Murphy asks Felix, who is this guy that D'Angelo is so up in the butt with? And where did he come from? And so Felix tells Murphy, well, basically, he's from the east side. And so we find out the reason why we know that he's from the east side is that Murphy basically went and did a little bit investigation on Peter. And so Murphy asks Felix, well, where did this guy come from? How did he get into our division? How did he get into our group? And so Felix tells Murphy, well, someone recommended him. Who is not what you know, is who you know. And so Murphy is saying, well, look, I don't really like this guy. He is like a yuppie. He's coming from the East Ward, and basically they are in the South Ward, and basically the South Ward is where all of the crime it goes down as far as drugs and all the other stuff. And Peter is coming from the East Division, where it's nothing but, apparently it seems it's nothing but college kids and a white area. And so in the meantime, we see that Murphy and Felix is coming into the police department, and we see Peter basically coming there too. But D'Angelo is not there. But apparently D'Angelo had requested for Peter to come to the station. And so Peter sees Felix and Murphy there, and he asks them, well, where are you guys getting ready to go? And Murphy and Felix, especially Murphy, because Murphy doesn't like Peter. So Murphy says, we're getting ready to go out, and you're getting ready to you ain't going nowhere. You're staying here in the office. In the meantime, D'Angelo comes into the office. And so D'Angelo tells Felix and Murphy to go out on a case, do what you got to do your job. And then he tells Peter to basically come with him. While they're doing their runs of the avenue and everything, we see that Isaiah has basically come to bring food for Tish so she could get her health up. And so Isaiah is basically talking to Tish and saying, well, I'm not really, an emotional person. I don't know how exactly to show my feelings and everything. In the meantime, we see that Seth has basically also come into the hospital to basically give food and everything for Tish. And then this is when Tish tells Seth for him to basically feel and touch him and let him know that you're there. And so we see this good scene where the nephew he's holding his nephew hands and talking to him, trying to tell him we're there before you. I have my uniform on and a little bit of this and a little bit. I have my uniform on and everything. So in the meantime, we see that KJ is basically getting all of the information together. And so KJ calls Fish and let Fish know exactly what's going on with Max, and that he had arrested and charged the wrong person, and that they need to find out who is the right person. In the meantime, Fish does not know that he is centered around a bunch of dirty cops. The reason why I say Fish does not know that he's centered around dirty cops is because he's basically telling them what's going on as he finds information. And this gives D'Angelo more information. And so one pertinent information is that he tells D'Angelo that the person, Max, is not the person who has been charged with this hit and miss. And he also went on and told D'Angelo that the color of the car is brown, and that he is not the person. But he also went and told KJ that the shoes or the boots or the Timberlands that Burton was wearing was missing. We find out that apparently when Burton got hit by Peter, he hit him so hard where he hit him and knocked him in that hole, and that the person who saw him went down in that hole and basically took the shoes off of Burton. And so this is when Fish goes to KJ's apartment and knocks on KJ's apartment and tells KJ that he's found the person who basically took the boots off of Burton. So he found the boot. But when Fish goes to KJ's apartment, apparently KJ has been drinking again. So she's a hot mess. She's been drinking again. And not only she's been drinking again, she's brought another John to her apartment. So KJ is very, happy that the fact that Fish found the terminates, but she is right now busy. In the meantime, at the hospital, we see that Tish has went to the cafeteria to basically get a slice of pie and to kind of sort of get a break. And so basically she leaves her son's bedroom for a minute or two to go to the cafeteria to get a slice of pie. In the meantime, we see that Peter's wife is in the garage, going into the refrigerator to pick out something, and this is when her water had broke, so she's getting ready to deliver the baby. Now, this is a very good scenario. She's getting ready to deliver her baby, and at the same time, she is bleeding, and so we go back to the hospital, and we see Tish has basically come up, and we see the nurse. And the nurse says, well, look, we have been looking for you, Miss Butler. We haven't been able to look for you. And we were trying to get a hold of you. And this is where Tish has found out that her son had passed on. And which is a good scenario because the same time that Burton passed on Tish's son, we see that Peter's wife has delivered. And what she has delivered, she had a baby boy. Now, we go on and we find out that KJ and Fish, and we also find out that KJ basically went to the hospital before Bert died and inspected his body to see if there was anything on his body. And she found something that was on his body, and she found a chip that was a blue chip that was at the head of his skull. And so she basically told Fish that she found something at the body, and then she went on and they called her, and she went on. She told Fish that Burton had passed on. And now we see that this is no longer a hit and run. It is now a homicide. Now, basically, this episode was very, very good. This episode was very, very good just because we see that Peter is also finding out that he is amongst dirty cops. But the reason why I said this is a very good episode because he's finding out that he's among dirty cops, and not only is he amongst dirty cops, he also see the head of the Kings, who is a black man, and he's really, really thinking whether or not if he made the right decision as far as accepting the job that D'Angelo has basically had offered him. This is very, very good. This is very good. I still haven't showed. It's still getting deeper and deeper because as we go along, it's gonna be some twists and turns. In the meantime, that's all I got, guys. That's all I got. And I'm sorry that I have sinuses, and my sinuses has this way of acting that's really bad. I have chronic. But anyway, in the meantime, if you like what you saw or the recap, I'm asking you to click subscribe, hit the like, and hit the notification and share. Until the next time, I will be coming back sometime maybe Monday or Tuesday with episode 3, and we are going to get into it a little bit more further. We in episode 3 we find out who's that second person, um, and it's getting really really good. Until the next time, this is All Things Cheryl. Peace and look. I'm done. I ain't got no more. I'm done.